Welcome to the top 100 players in Major League Baseball heading into the 2023 season. But before we get into the list, if you guys love baseball or maybe you're just trying to get into the game, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you have not already. All baseball on the channel, you will not want to miss a single video.
Shout out to everyone on here. If you want to see your name on here, link is down in the description.
Alright, let's hop into it. This list is extremely hard. So many players I consider that just barely missed the list. I could have made a top 200 if I wanted to, but at number 100 starting off this list is Evan Phillips. It's hard to be underrated when you wear a Dodgers uniform, but Phillips found a way. Phillips showed a flash last year in 7 appearances, but in 2022, he had a sub-2 FIP and a 0.78 WHIP. 99, Tommy Edman. The defense was elite, saving 6 runs at both short and second base. After 2 below average seasons at the plate, he was able to put up a 108 WRC+. If he can get the bat back to what it was in 2019 while playing this type of defense, then he'll rise a lot at this time next year. 98, Dalton Varsho. 27 home runs in your first full season is a pretty good start to your career. Arizona just had too many outfielders and Toronto decided to make a move for the power-hitting lefty. The Blue Jays will most certainly have him as an outfielder with his 19 defensive runs saved, and since they have Jansen and Kirk already behind the plate. 97, Tim Anderson. Anderson would be one of the best players in the league if it was 40 years ago. But he'd probably also have CTE due to all the balls thrown at his head after his bat flips. Batting average isn't relevant in 2022, but he's hit 300 or better in the last 4 seasons. It's as simple as he hits the ball and he has a lot of fun while doing it. 96, Ryan Pressly. After what Houston's bullpen did in the postseason this year, there's about 5 different guys you could put here, but going with the closer makes the most sense. Pressly has gotten it done every year in Houston, making 2 All-Star appearances, and this year was no different with a 2.31 FIP. 95, Jake Cronenworth. Can play all around the infield and is solid defensively at each position. His bat did drop off a little, but back-to-back All-Star appearances and being able to hit around 20 home runs with that versatility gives the Padres yet another very good player. 94, KETEL Marte. In 2019, KETEL was one of the more exciting and better players in the league. And after last season, although only 90 games, it looked like he was back to that player. His defense wasn't great and his bat was barely above average. He did just get extended by the Diamondbacks, but a lot is riding on his 2023 season. 93, Joe Musgrove. A first-year All-Star this season, a sub-3 ERA in back-to-back seasons, throwing 181 innings on the mound. 92, Yu Darvish. 8th in Cy Young voting this season, he isn't what he was in his last year with the Cubs, but he's still been a very reliable starter on the mound for the Padres with a sub-1 WHIP. 91, Nestor Cortes. A starter that seemingly came out of nowhere last year, putting up 10 strikeouts per 9 and a sub-3 ERA, showing flashes of what he could do in 22 starts. This year, he showed that wasn't a fluke with a sub-1 WHIP and even a complete game shutout. He also appeared in his first All-Star game, but like most Yankees, he got destroyed by the Astros in the postseason. 90, Dansby Swanson. The newest Cubs shortstop picked a great time to have his best career season, and it earned him $177 million. He played in all 162 games with the elite defense and a 116 WRC+, which was a big jump from last year. 89, Wander Franco. The hype was to be one of the best players in baseball, but some injuries let him only play 83 games. Franco also had a 6.1 B WAR in just 153 career games. Pretty good for a 21-year-old. 88, Jesse Winker. This is what we call a National League guy. He didn't work out in Seattle. After putting up back-to-back seasons slugging .550, he was nearly 200 points worse with the Mariners. Now Winker is back in the National League Central and he's in a great hitter's ballpark in Milwaukee. If there's anyone you're going to put on top of a bounce-back candidate list, it's him. 87, Alejandro KIRK. KIRK was arguably the best catcher in the first half. He did come back to earth in the second half, but his stats altogether were still good enough to keep him on this list, and he saved 9 runs behind the plate. KIRK is the biggest reason Toronto is okay with trading Morano. 86, Marcus Semien. Not the exact year the Rangers were hoping for after giving him that huge contract. A WRC plus of 107 and 26 home runs is fine for a second baseman, but maybe not for $175 million. Still, Texas knows they can rely on him to go out there every day. The last 3 seasons, he's played 161 or more games, while also leading the league in plate appearances. 85, Devin Williams. Starting the year as a setup man before moving to closer after the Josh Hader trade. Williams, or the Airbender, has the best changeup in the game, a pitch that is nearly unhittable even when you know it's coming. 84, Luis Castillo. Seattle decided to go out and get an ace at the deadline, and they chose the Reds ace. He didn't miss a beat leaving Cincinnati. If anything, he got better, playing under the lights rather than the basement at Great American Ballpark.
83, Tyler O'Neill. His defensive game will always come before the offense. Last year though, he was able to put up great numbers at the plate. This season, he was very average on offense. Cardinals will need him to bounce back if they want to make a run in 2023.
82, Jazz Chisholm Jr. If he played a full season and kept up the same pace, then he'd be a lot higher. If doesn't get you far on this list though. Jazz is one of the most electric players, one of those guys that old school fans aren't a fan of. 14 home runs in just 60 games, very excited to see what he can do in a full season. 81, Jeremy Pena. It's tough to replace Carlos Correa in his postseason experiments, but somehow Houston found a way to do it. The rookie won the Gold Glove and ALCS and World Series MVP to help bring home the Astros' second championship. 80, Wilson Contreras. 3 straight years of hitting more than 20 home runs, not counting 2020. He gets hit a lot and brings a ton of energy on the Cubs, and now will look to do the same in St. Louis. 79, Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo may not be what he was when he was helping the Cubs win the World Series, but he's still been a great hitter and clubhouse guy with plenty of power in the Bronx. This season he tied his career high with 32 home runs. 78, Cedric Mullins. Last season, Mullins had 11 outs above average in center and had a 30-30 season. This year he was still able to save 5 runs on defense, but offensively he just wasn't the same, dropping from a 136 WRC plus to barely over the league average with 106. Still with 34 stolen bases, 16 home runs, and that type of defense, that'll land you on this list. 77, William Contreras. Involved in the Sean Murphy trade, the all-star catcher / DH is now a Brewer. He had a great season at the plate with an OPS plus of 138 and 20 home runs. Only downside is in 2 seasons, he hasn't played close to a full one. 76th, Logan Webb. Webb wasn't great his first 2 years in the league, but since he's been a starter the Giants have been able to rely on heavily. 75, Shane McClanahan. Tampa thought they had the Cy Young, but a rough September took him out of the conversation. McClanahan still started the All-Star game, had a 3 FIP, and struck out 10.5 batters per 9 innings, setting the Rays up for an ace in 2023. 74, Ian Happ. 14 defensive runs saved, most of them coming in left field. Put that with a 120 WRC plus and 17 home runs at the plate. He's been putting up these type of numbers his entire career, a very good two-way player. 73, Framber Valdez. 3 complete games, 1 which was a shutout. Led the league with most innings thrown and had an argument for World Series MVP. He's been this great the past 3 seasons and sometimes is overshadowed by all the firepower in Houston. 72, Nathaniel Lowe. When you think of the Rangers, you go straight to their middle infield, but don't forget about their first baseman, a silver slugger, a near 500 slugging, and a 143 WRC plus. He's been an above average hitter his whole career, but really took it up a notch in 2022. 71, Kevin Gausman. Whatever he found in the Bay, it stayed with him in Toronto. If anything, he found it better. Leading the league in FIP with 2.38 and a strikeout to walk ratio of 7.32. 70, Ty France. Another one of those trades that looked good for the Padres at the time has come back to bite them. France made his first All-Star appearance, and although he wasn't as great in the second half as he was in the first, this is coming after an even bigger season last year. 69, Brandon Woodruff. Sometimes Woody gets outshined by Burns in the Brewers rotation, but Woodruff has been one of the better pitchers in baseball since becoming a full-time starter in 2019. This year, he had a career best 11.2 strikeouts per 9. 68, Stephen Kwan. Often forgotten with the incredible rookie class this year, it's hard to outshine Adley and J-Rod. In his rookie year, he stole 19 bases, got on base at a 373 rate, and won a Gold Glove, saving 21 runs in left field. 67, Starling Marte. A very good and fast defender in right field. The Mets signed him to a 4-year deal last offseason, and he did exactly what he was paid to do in year number 1. OPS above 800, got on base at a solid rate, and 4 defensive runs saved with 18 stolen bases. 66, Spencer Strider. In 31 appearances, Strider started 20 of them, and he was lights out. A sub-2 FIP and a sub-1 WHIP that played to be huge when Atlanta needed every game possible to win the East. 65, Rhys Hoskins. He's never been an MVP candidate or even an all-star, but Hoskins has been a very consistent power hitter his entire career. Year after year, putting up mid-800 OPS and on the verge of 30 home runs. Philadelphia may not have won the pennant without his 4 home runs in the NLCS. 64, Ryan Helsley. It's tough to be the best reliever in the NL when Edwin Diaz is also there, but Helsley gave it his best shot. In 54 appearances, he had 13.1 strikeouts per 9 and a .7 whip. 63, Michael Harris. Edged out his teammate for the NL Rookie of the Year. Elite defense at a very valuable position in center field. Enough power to hit 20 home runs in only 114 games and can steal bases. All around great player who should rise a lot on this list in the next coming years. 62, Bo Bichette. Back-to-back seasons leading the league in hits and receiving MVP votes while putting up good power numbers. Offensively he's been great, but this season his defense was very bad with a -28 UZR per 150 games. 61, Yandy Diaz. An on-base machine, getting on base by than a 40% rate 2 of the last 3 seasons at third base for the Rays. Not a big power hitter, but still someone who can give you 33 doubles. Defense could use a lot of work, but his bat makes up for it. 60, Willy Adames. Milwaukee struggled offensively this season, but one of those people at fault wasn't Willy Adames. Willie broke the franchise record for most home runs by a shortstop in a season, breaking Hall of Famer Robin Yount's record with 31. 59, Teoscar Hernandez. Acquired in a trade by the Mariners this offseason, Hernandez has been a very underrated player with the Blue Jays over the past 3 seasons, putting up over an 8 F4 over that time.
58, Sean Murphy. One of the better defensive catchers in the league. Nearly 20 home runs the last 2 seasons, and now he's just another weapon on the defending NL East champions.
57, Luis Arraez. He did win the American League batting title, but he does much more than that. Gets on base at a high rate, versatile all around the infield, and is above average at every position he plays. 56, Zach Gallen. Gallen has potential to be one of the best arms in baseball, but this list isn't just based off of that. Gallen has shown what he can be on the mound 2 of the last 3 seasons. This year, he led the league with least amount of hits per 9 given up and whip, while finishing 5th in Cy Young voting. Arizona found themselves an ace. 55, Jose Abreu. He's been the big centerpiece of the White Sox franchise for the last 8 years, continually putting up an OPS plus of 120 or better with a solid amount of home runs. Chicago decided to let him walk, and Houston got another great bat, a huge upgrade from Gurriel last year. 54, Alek Manoah. Yankee fans' favorite pitcher. Manoah knows he's really good, and a lot of the time he shows that on the field by talking. Nothing wrong with that as long as you have a whip under 1, a 2.24 ERA, and an 8.7 BWAR in just 2 seasons. 53, Corey Seager. Texas was hoping for a little more from Seager than his 772 OPS, but still a career high at 33 home runs. Still a 4 BWAR and solid defense, he's expected to be one of the guys that gets the Rangers back into the playoffs sooner than later. 52, Emmanuel Clase. Led the league in games finished, and saves. If Clase came in and your team was losing nearly every time, it was a GG. This is back-to-back seasons of putting up these untouchable numbers, and it's made him the 2nd best reliever in the league. 51, Dylan Cease. I know, it's a tough ranking for the guy who finished 2nd in AL Cy Young voting this year. Cease has had back-to-back elite years, leading in strikeouts per 9 last year and having a 2.2 ERA this season. The pitchers I have in front of him have just proven a little bit more. Moving into the top 50, Kyle Schwarber. Huge bounce back year last season after getting non-tendered by the Cubbies, and this year he led the National League with 46 home runs. The strikeouts were a big problem, but when you have a slugging above 500, it's hard to care too much. 49, Adley Rutschman. By this time next year, he'll be top 20 and the best catcher in the game, if not before. 18 defensive runs saved and a 133 WRC+, finishing only behind J-Rod for Rookie of the Year and 12th in MVP voting. There's a reason why Baltimore took him number 1 overall. 48, Julio Urias. This season, he won the ERA title and led the league in ERA+, finishing 3rd in Cy Young voting. Pitcher wins don't matter, but I still have to mention how he was 20-3 last year. Started in 63 games the last 2 years, he's someone who isn't just great on the mound, but the Dodgers can trust him to go out there every 5 days. 47, Brandon Nimmo. The defense has its ups and downs, but in 3 of the last 5 seasons, he has put up an OBP of 400 or better and a WRC plus of 134 to 147. The Mets gave him $162 million, and when you have unlimited money, why not drop some on your star center fielder? 46, Edwin Diaz. Is there even a debate of who the best reliever in baseball is? We can discuss every other position, but I'd say this one is set in stone. Only reason he's still at 46 is because relievers are the least valuable of bats and starters. Diaz in 2022 had a .9 FIP and a .839 WHIP with 32 saves. And let's not forget about the trumpets either. 45, Matt Olson. The bat dropped a little last year after his trade from Oakland, but still 34 home runs, a .477 slugging, and the ability to stay healthy enough to play in all 162 games. With a great glove at first, is a top 50 player. 44, Aaron Nola. After starting out the postseason well, he did struggle in the NLCS and World Series, but in the regular season, he still led the league in strikeouts per walk ratio and least amount of walks per 9 innings. You aren't going to get free passes from Nola, and sometimes that's all you can ask from your pitcher. 43, Pete Alonso. 40 home runs and led the league with 131 RBIs. In 3 of his last 4 seasons, he slugged above 500. Only one he didn't was a 60-game season where he slugged 490. The defense was down from previous seasons, but when you have a 143 WRC plus and one of the best power hitters in baseball, that part doesn't matter too much. 42, Will Smith. The second best catcher in the game, saving 7 runs behind the plate while also getting on base at a .356 rate and slugging above 500 in his career. It's tough to find many catchers like that, and Smith hasn't even entered his prime yet. 41, Alex Bregman. Houston's third baseman was still good the last 2 years, but it wasn't the Alex Bregman we've gotten to know earlier in his career. He needed a bounce back year, and he got that in 2022 with a .366 OBP and a 136 WRC plus. 15 hits and 3 home runs in the postseason has still made him one of the corner pieces of the reigning World Series champs. 40, George Springer. One of the more consistent players throughout his career, you always know what you're going to get out of the center fielder. Around a 140 WRC plus and overall solid defense out there. 39, Zach Wheeler. The Phillies starter nearly had as good as a season last year when he finished 2nd in Cy Young voting just in 6 less starts and 3 less complete games. Philadelphia may not have won the pennant without his 2 starts in the NLCS. 38, Brian Reynolds. Chances are he'll be on a new team for the 2023 season, but right now he's the Pirates' best player. Minus 14 defensive runs saved and a drop off from last year at the plate drops him a little lower on the list this year. He's still great, and there's a reason why so many teams are trying to trade for him. 37, Shane Bieber. It's tough to keep up a pace of 14.2 strikeouts per 9 like in his 2020 Cy Young season, but Bieber is still pitching like the ace of the Guardians and one of the best in the American League. Bieber may not get the recognition he fully deserves playing in Cleveland, but he's had a FIP 3.3 or under since entering the league 5 years ago. 36, Jeff McNeil. Batting average may not matter too much in 2022, but McNeil did win the batting title this year while also getting on base at an extremely high rate at 382. A versatile defensive player who can play above average defense at each position gives the Mets one of their many great players. 35, Rafael Devers. The defense has always been the downside of Devers' games. It improved a little this year, but it was still not where you'd like it to be. But his bat is so good that it completely makes up for it. 65 home runs combined the past 2 years, a 141 WRC plus this year, and he'll give you around 40 doubles in a season. 34, Andres Gimenez. The most underrated player in baseball. 16 defensive runs saved at second base, a 6.1 F4, and a WRC plus of 140. He's only 24 and it was his first full season in the majors. There's an argument to be made that the Guardians won the Lindor trade. 33, Julio Rodriguez, an electric superstar who took baseball by storm quickly. Rookie of the Year, All-Star, Silver Slugger, and carried the Mariners to their first playoff appearance in 21 years. 25 stolen bases, 28 home runs, great defense, and he's only 21 years old. He should be in the top 10 by this time next season. 32, Gerrit Cole. This was Cole's worst year since 2018, and he still finished 9th in Cy Young voting. An all-star appearance, 11.5 strikeouts per 9, and led in games started in total strikeouts. He's been that good over the last half decade. 31, Max Fried. Don't let some struggles in the postseason distract you from his 3 straight elite regular seasons. A 2.7 FIP this past year. Also, no one has filled the position better in the National League over those past 3 years either. 30, Byron Buxton. The face of the Twins is one of the hardest players to rank on this list. His talent is some of the best in the game. One of the fastest players in baseball, playing a very pivotal position while still being able to hit a baseball as far as anyone at the same time. The only downside is he's played 93 games or more only once in his career. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how elite you are if you can't stay healthy. 29, Kyle Tucker. It's hard to make a name for yourself when you play with as many stars as Tucker does in Houston, but he's done it. Elite defense, 14 defensive runs saved, and an ultimate zone rating per 150 defensive games of 4.6. Tucker would make an even bigger name for himself in Game 1 of the World Series when he hit 2 homers in his first 2 at-bats.
28, Carlos Rodon. The Yankees rotation just got better. Rodon went from a bust who couldn't stay healthy to a $162 million man that led the league in FIP and strikeouts per 9 last season.
27, Fernando Tatis Jr. Tatis is one of the best all-around hitters in baseball, and although he's only played 3 seasons, it looked like he was already on pace for Cooperstown, until he missed all of last season due to an off-field injury. Then when he was about to return, he was suspended for PEDs, which will follow him into the beginning of 2023. It will be his 5th year in the league, and he still has not played a full season. 26, Francisco Lindor. After back-to-back down seasons at the plate, Lindor finally showed why the Mets traded for him. A 127 WRC plus to go along with 13 outs above average at short. 25, JT Realmuto. The best catcher in baseball. 11 defensive runs saved at arguably the most important position. While it's hard to find good hitting catchers, Realmuto put up a 128 WRC plus last season. 24, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladdy Jr. took a step back at the plate this season, but it's tough to keep up a 601 slugging and 48 home runs from last year. Guerrero is still one of the best home run hitters in the league. 23, Max Scherzer. Although he's 38 years old, father time has not caught up to him as he's still pitching like he was when he won 3 Cy Youngs. Scherzer has put up a sub-1 whip the past 2 seasons. 22, Jose Altuve. The defense wasn't great this year and hasn't been his whole career, but he had his best year at the plate since winning MVP in 2017. If you look up consistent hitter in the dictionary, you'll find a picture of Jose Altuve. 21, Ronald Acuna Jr. Acuna missed the end of last year and the beginning of this year due to the same injury. His numbers were down to go along with that, but he's still a 5-tool player who nearly had a 40-40 season in 2019 and should bounce back big time, getting back to 100% healthy. 20, Carlos Correa. For now, he's on the Mets after his Giants deal shockingly fell through. Correa is worth the $315 million deal at the age of 28. A superstar at countless number of memorable playoff moments, an elite defender, bat, and clutchness trait. 19, Austin Riley. Riley was considered a bust after his slow start in his first 2 seasons, but since has finished top 7 MVP voting the past 2 years, contributing big time to the World Series championship last year, and has earned a 10-year extension with the team that drafted him in 2015. 18, Xander Bogaerts. A big bounce back on the defensive side of the ball puts him in this year's top 20. A player who's been a very good hitter his entire career with Boston is now on his way to help the Padres reach their first World Series since 1998. 17, Jose Ramirez. Although the defense took a small step back, still above average, Ramirez hasn't gotten the respect he's deserved over his years in Cleveland. The best switch hitter in the game and has the versatility to play all around the infield. 16, Yordan Alvarez. One of the best pure hitters in the game. Only part that kind of hurts his value is he starts more games at DH rather than in left field. His defense isn't bad by any means, saving 5 runs last year. A .613 slugging and a 185 WRC plus at the plate speaks for itself. 15, Justin Verlander. The 39-year-old American League Cy Young is still pitching like it's the 2011 season where he won MVP. In 2022, he led the league in ERA, ERA+, WHIP, and hits per 9. 14, Corbin Burnes. The 2021 NL Cy Young looked to be heading for back-to-back until late season struggles finished him in 7th in voting. 3 straight years against Cy Young votes after having one of the worst seasons ever in 2019. He is the best cutter in the game and has turned into the ace of the Brewers. 13, Sandy Alcantara. The best pitcher in the National League this season was outshined by how bad his team's offense was and record, but thankfully the media still recognized him as the NL Cy Young. 6 complete games is almost unheard of in today's game. Thanks to that, he led the league with innings pitched and batters faced. 12, Freddie Freeman. After not wanting to leave Atlanta, he didn't miss a beat with his new team in LA. Plate appearances, hits, doubles, runs, and OBP are all stats he led the league in. The Dodgers did not need another elite player, but they got one. 11, Jacob deGrom. This was one of the hardest players for me to rank. deGrom is the most talented pitcher in baseball, but he hasn't been healthy the past 2 seasons. I still ranked him as the best pitcher in the game, but I understand if anyone thinks differently. Moving inside the top 10, we have Juan Soto. A down year for Soto is still putting up a 401 OBP. The Padres gave up everyone for him at the deadline, and he didn't put up the numbers they expected him to, but overall, this is still one of the best hitters in the game. 9, Mookie Betts. Betts is a true definition of a 5-tool player and has been his entire career. 15 defensive runs saved in right field, a cannon of an arm, and 35 home runs. Betts has been this great since entering the league in 2014, putting himself on a path to Cooperstown. 8, Trey Turner. There's no one that has better slides than Trey Turner, having elite speed and still being able to hit more than 20 home runs in a season. The Phillies gave him 11 years for a reason. 7, Bryce Harper. Harper is another tough one to rank. He won MVP a year ago, and this year was still an incredible hitter who had one of the biggest home runs in Phillies history. The only downside was he played 99 games due to injury, but still came back, and it was like he never left. 6, Manny Machado. Manny came so close to his first MVP, finishing in 2nd place. His defensive runs saved were in the negative for the first time in his career, but his outs above average and fielding runs prevented were still both in the positives. Machado had his best full offensive season since 2018, and he's matured a lot on the field. 5, Nolan Arenado. Arenado has played 10 MLB seasons and has won 10 Gold Gloves. He's not just the best defender currently, but one of the best of all time. Brooks Robinson is coming close to having company. Nolan has been an elite hitter his whole career too, still hitting 30 or more home runs in his first 2 seasons out of Coors Field. 4, Paul Goldschmidt. The National League MVP, leading the NL in slugging, OPS, and OPS Plus in 2022. The other side of the Cardinals infield, giving them the best corner infield in Major League Baseball. Goldie finished twice in MVP vote in Arizona, but he's finally finished the job in St. Louis. 3, Aaron Judge. The American League MVP and now the record holder for most home runs ever in a season by an American League player. There's a reason he got paid $360 million at the Yankees believe he can be the next captain that brings the Yankees their first World Series since 2009. Number 2, Mike Trout. It's hard to move Trout off the number 1 spot considering when he's healthy, his numbers are still the best in the world, but he hasn't been fully healthy the past 2 seasons. 40 home runs in 119 games speaks for itself, among a million other things Mike Trout does. But if you can't play all the time, then I have to knock you off the number 1 spot. But coming in as the best player in baseball, Mike Trout's teammate, Shohei Ohtani. For the first time in years, there's a new best player in baseball. Shohei is a 6-tool player, something even the Babe wasn't. He's making MLB history and has done it back-to-back seasons. He's not the best pitcher in baseball or hitter, but he's elite at both with elite speed on the base pads. Enjoy him while it lasts. We may never see another Ohtani.